This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com. Hello everybody and welcome back to the elder-geek Game Club. My name is Steve Wilkinson and joining me as always is the editor and owner of elder-geek.com, Randy Asenchuk. Randy, how you doing today?
Doing all right. I think this is our first morning recording that we've done in a really long time.
Yes, and you get the as always
and I get
title.
the as always. Phil normally gets the as always.
Yes, Phil could not be with us this time around. He's got some family obligations this weekend, but he submitted a lot of thoughts for the game, which we'll read later in the show. And this time around, we have a very special guest joining us, Chris Geehan from HyperDuck SoundWorks. Chris, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for getting up so early.
Oh no, this is no problem. On a Saturday, it's great because I'm up anyway.
Weekend. It's definitely a problem if you're getting up early on the weekend.
I'm like pretty much in old man mode now, where like I no longer can stay up late on the weekends. I'm like out by 11, and so I wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I have all like my game time from like 7 to 10 before my family gets up. So,
genius.
So this worked out perfectly. So.
I gotta say, I'm really excited about this show because we've been accidentally putting it off for so long because Chris is in Ireland and we're here in New Jersey, and just syncing up our time schedule has just been kind of a nightmare. So we've been telling everybody like, "Hey, we're gonna be talking about Dust next week. We're gonna be talking about Dust next week," and then it never happened. And then the one time we thought we were all synced up, and I felt like such a jerk. I had said 9. And Chris had thought we were talking about 9 in the morning, and then I was like rolling up to my desk, and Chris was like ready to roll, and I was like, I got work. I'm really sorry, but we're not recording right now. I felt like such an ass, but
it's fine. I think we all miscalculated multiple times, like so. But we're here now. It's all good. All good.
Yep. And we are going to be talking about Dust, an Elysian tale. This time around. And just if you're listening, if you haven't finished the game yet, we're going to keep it relatively spoiler-free, so don't worry about having anything ruined for you. We're not going to get into any major plot stuff as far as that goes, so don't turn us off, please.
Just play a really loud car horn if there's any, spoilers.
Yeah.
Just over it. That was a good one.
So a little background on the game. Dust, it's a 2D action side-scroller. And it's got some light kind of RPG elements to it, including, you can build out your abilities with talent points, and it's got side quests and stuff like that. The game was designed and programmed by one guy, Dean Dodrell. He had previously worked on artwork and cinematics for Jazz Jackrabbit 2. And he was in the process, or planning, of making an animated film called An Elysian Tale. And then I guess at some point he decided to go and make it a game instead. He assumed the game was going to take about 3 months to complete, and it actually took 3.5 years, which, as a programmer, I completely can relate.
That's crazy.
And initially, I think he was planning on releasing it as an Xbox Live indie game, but then won the Dream Build Play Challenge in 2009, which is done by Microsoft, and got their attention. And then they decided to release it as a full-fledged Xbox Live Arcade game, which it came out in August of 2012, and then released just recently on Steam in May of 2013. And the soundtrack, of course, was done by HyperDuck Studios.
These HyperDuck guys. And Alexander Brandon was on the project too.
Yeah, he did some awesome work. I think he actually was there before we actually came on the project, and like I think he was quite busy with stuff, so he wasn't able to like do the full thing. And Dean was doing it out of pocket as well. So like me and Dan basically went in. We had no portfolio. That's the word. So it was like, how am I gonna convince this guy to like bring us on board for this game, because it looks really good. I was like, this team, because I didn't think it was just one guy. I was like, this team must just be laughing at the fact that I'm trying to contact them about working with them.
Oh, so you contacted them?
Yeah. I contacted Dean. I found him on the NeoGAF forums.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I was like, I'll do a tiny wee bit before that. Actually, what happened was, it was 2009. I think it must have been 2009. Pretty late on in the fall, and I was on like forums like the TIG Source forums and NeoGAF forums, moddb.com. You know, just everywhere where developers are jotting down all their development log information, and essentially, you know, sitting with games that aren't, you know, ready to go yet but do need more members. And I was just like flat out, you know, just trying to get anything at all, like, and I in the space of 1 week I picked up Zero Gear, Trashman, which became Ares, and Dust and Elysian Tail, like all within the 1 week. And
Dude, that must have been a hell of a week.
that was, yeah. Well, we did, like, at that point we were like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, cool. I guess we'll do some music for these. That's cool. But we didn't think about, you know, how amazing these games were gonna like be. You know, it didn't really sink in because we were like in university and we're still, you know, coming up the exam time in like a sort of early spring, and we just weren't really. It was like, cool, yeah, we'll do that, but like, you know, like, help me with my exam piece right now. And so we weren't really like, you know, jumping up and down excited because we didn't really know what it was yet either. Like, you know, we just knew that we wanted to do work for these games. So cutting ahead, you know, contacted Dean. I was like, Dean, blah blah blah, I'd like to, you know, audition for your game, and show you, like, I'll write something for you within 24 hours, whatever you know, just give me some reference and I'll write something like that. So he gave me a reference from, it was
It's on a post-it somewhere in your office.
Yeah, it's somewhere over here. I mean, it could be any of these. I don't know. But it was basically like I think it was Higher Gregson Williams like battle piece from Metal Gear Solid 3. And he didn't even give me the full tune. He gave me like 55 seconds or something. They just cut in straight away and then like ended really abruptly. And I was like, okay. It was like, yeah, just like something in there, just whatever. And I was like, that's interesting referencing. I'll definitely go ahead with that. And I came back 24 hours later with that and another piece which he asked, you know the Ease 3, Ease 4 games? It's kind of got that kind of
yeah
like rock and roll glittery like piano sounds, and like, so I came back with Abada's Forest theme and Short Fuse the very next day. I came back and handed them over and he was like, they need a wee bit of work, but essentially you're in. And then that was the rest of it afterwards. And then 3 months later he was like, oh yeah, I won Dream Build Play. I was like, what?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like but I think he's a powerhouse, like, you know, the fact that he did that. It was actually, I thought it was 3.5 years as well, Stephen, but it was actually, we were on the project for 3.5 years, but he was already working on it well before then.
Oh,
like,
okay.
He'd been working, I think it must have been near 4 years before he'd actually finished.
Wow.
And then if you add on like the last year, because he actually hasn't stopped working since it came out back in October. You're saying, yeah, and he hasn't stopped working since then, and like he's winding down now. He's working on something else, which I can't say what it is.
Oh,
but,
okay.
He's only recently started to do things that aren't Dust. Like, I'm talking the last fortnight, you know.
Yeah.
He's stopped working on it.
I imagine he's got to do some patching and stuff, like things like that as well.
Yeah.
Well, he did some pretty sizable improvements afterwards. There was some complaints about like the portfolio, or not the portfolios, the portraits on the Xbox Live version of the people talking, and they were saying like, oh, there's like an HD version of it on the Steam version of it. So I mean, he's clearly doing a ton of stuff after release, which is admirable.
Yeah, no, he really cares about it. Like, you know, it's his baby, you know, and I think the fans as well, like, really like. I mean, who doesn't like it whenever the developer goes, okay, I hear your problem and I'm gonna sort it out, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, you do get that sense that he is listening to you whenever, you know, you file a genuine complaint. So he's good. I mean, you know, I don't know how he's still alive. He had his wife had a baby in the last 2 weeks of crunch just before we were about to hand Dust over for XBLA. And I was like, Microsoft, send out a babysitter or something, you know, help this guy out, like just help him out. But he was he didn't get. I don't think he got to see his kid for like a few days after he was born, or you know, to hang out with his kid because he had to like just finish this up. But he's had plenty of time since, so you know.
Good. Okay. I was gonna say he's got a payback time from that. I'm sure.
Yeah. That's a lifetime of good presents right there.
How long did it take you to to do this? Like you did the soundtrack total. Like how long did that take you to do all that?
Well, like I guess you could say over 3.5 years. I guess because like, but it wasn't like 3.5 years flat out. You know,
right?
I mean, like we would go. We go maybe three months at the very most where we wouldn't be working with Dean because he'd be catching up with all the, because he had like, you know, our work essentially had like 4 times as much work as what we had to do, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because, you know, he's got his art, he's got his animation, he's got to review all the auditions for the voices, he's got to give me feedback, like constant feedback and new referencing for sound effects and music, and look at the story with Alex Kane, the writer, and just, you know, just this list while still making the whole game as well. So like it would go like, you know, say 2 or 3 months with nothing from Dean, and then, you know, you're talking near half a year flat out with Dean, just week to week, just constantly giving him stuff, and he was constantly giving. It was really easy working with him because he knows what he wants, but he's this kind of guy, he knows what he wants, but he's not like clutching to it, you know. It's not like it has to be exactly like this song. He's like, he'll go, I like this song, I like this about it, but I like what you guys do. So, you know, there's a certain point where he just went, now you know what I like, you guys go and do the rest, I trust you.
Dude, that's got to be like the best kind of creative director to be working with right there. Instead of, you know, nitpicking or nickel and diming you for like every tiny little edit along the way. That's great to hear, man.
Yeah, especially considering, like you said, this is his baby and how much of it he was invested in it. To be able to let go of certain things is pretty admirable.
Yeah. I mean, that takes a good sense of leadership, I think, to be able to go, I don't know as much as you know about this particular area of expertise, and then just let them go with it. Like, so we were very lucky. I think he's the best guy we could have asked to work with. Like, you know, the best introduction to sort of being in a game development team, I think. So
I think as far as like introductions into the game development scene, you guys probably picked a pretty good one, because the game itself has won like tons of awards. The soundtrack has even won tons of awards. So I mean,
yeah. It's crazy.
He's like, yeah, it has.
Yeah, no, we're really lucky. Like, we have pinched ourselves a good few times, like, but we've just taken advantage of the popularity and just kept our heads down. We haven't really ever stopped working since we finished Dust at all. We would take a occasional like weekend away to somewhere in Ireland to get sloshed for a bit and just come back and get to it. Like, but I mean, no, we're very lucky. I don't think it would have been as enjoyable a ride to where we are now if we hadn't have met Dean and he hadn't have said yes, let's do this. You know, I think it would have been tough, a lot more difficult without getting to do Dust. You know.
Fill me in on the timeline. You guys also did, like, because a lot of people know the Hoy Small Fry track from the 25th anniversary song or album from Zelda. Was that? Did you do that after Dust or before or like same time or?
Let me tell you right now.
Let me check my notes.
No, because I can just tell you the exact date on the remix folder.
Were you a big remixer before then?
No. Not at all. Okay, it's not there, but I can guess. I think that was 2010, wasn't it? I think it was 10. I'm not really sure. Trying to think, because like we were still definitely writing music for Dust whenever we were doing that, you know.
Yeah.
We did a lot of, like, it wasn't just flat out Dust, you know. We did a lot of projects amongst that time, you know. So it was like, it's kind of like not really juggling, but like, you know, whenever Dean had a bit of downtime for music, where he was like, okay, I don't need you guys for a couple of weeks, just letting you know ahead of time. And then we would use that time, and we would go ahead and it was 2011. Boom, there you go. 2011 in November, I think. So yeah, it was like kind of coming up to the point where, because like, you know the way people say, you know, the easiest part of the game is like the first 90%, or like the hardest part of the game is the last 10% or something like that.
I can imagine.
There's that saying. That's really, really true. Because Dean didn't start the last 10% until, I would say, just you're talking probably December 2011, January time 2012. Yeah, I think that's about right. So like, you know, that's whenever it started to go crazy. And I think we just finished How Small Fry, because we actually had so much downtime at that point. We weren't looking for any jobs, like, because we were just expecting dust, like the eruption for the last 10% to happen.
Right.
So we were like, let's just wait for it, because it's gonna happen. And it did happen. But that was the time whenever we just got together. I think it took like 5 days to put How Small Fry together, start to finish. So but that was a lot of fun to put together, actually. It was kind of like, if you ever listen to it, and if you go and listen to the staff credits from Wind Waker, it's kind of the same thing, but it takes a bit of a tangent. But it's kind of just, you know, a re-instrumentated version of that in a way, and it just throws in lots of other wee bits from other Zeldas. There's a wee bit what was it? Ocarina of Time, tiny wee bit of Ocarina of Time in it.
That's
just
awesome.
Itty bitty bit.
All right, and I don't want to get us
here.
too further off the tangent, but you just got done doing Rain Slick.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Rain Slick finished. Must have been about 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah. Are you working on anything good right now that you're allowed to talk about?
We've been doing lots of new music for Kingdom Rush 2, and we're getting the default Kingdom Rush 2, like Kingdom Rush Frontiers soundtrack ready to release, plus the expansion stuff, which is coming, and then there's going to be more Kingdom Rush music written later on in the year. And I'm doing a crazy amount of work on a game called Under the Ocean, which is by Paul Greasley and Mike, how do you say his name? Reitzenstein? Mike Reitzenstein.
You did a better job than anybody else on this show ever probably would have. We notoriously butcher people's last names. In fact, before the show, I was like, I sent an email to Steve and Phil. I was like, here's Chris pronouncing his own last name. I was like,
Yeah. Did you just link him to the YouTube video?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
I was like,
yep.
Here it is. Here's Chris pronouncing his own last name. Let's not fuck it up.
Yeah, I listened to it about 12 times.
Your last name is easy compared to some of to like a lot of the Japanese names that'll appear on the show. But you also did this really cool elite outro music for this small site called elder-geek.com, and if people wanted to listen to it, you can go to your your Bandcamp. No, wait, not Bandcamp. Your Bandcamp channel.
SoundCloud.
No, I'm getting it wrong.
SoundCloud.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
SoundCloud channel.
It's what is it? SoundCloud.com/ Why do I not know these things?
I think it's HyperDuck SoundWorks is your forward slash.
We'll link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll link it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But just click on that and then just play his entire SoundCloud.
On loop. Just do
All
that.
the clouds.
Just let it go. You know what's funny is, like, on SoundCloud you hit play one time and you think you're just going to listen to that one track, and then SoundCloud's like, you're done, but I'm not done playing music for you, and it literally just goes straight down the list for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a bit of a nightmare. I was playing the music from The Last of Us. It's really nice, and I just left it on while I went to do some dishes, and then all of a sudden, like, this happy hardcore, like, mad thing, Gangnam Style came on, and like the music from Last of Us is like pretty mellow and nice guitar, and I had it cranked because I was like, yeah, you know, I can have a blasting through the house a wee bit. I can't have Gangnam Style blasting through the house. That's just my number one rule. So I had to run from the kitchen. It's like, no! Hit the big red button, stop it. But yeah, SoundCloud could be a bit annoying like that, I think.
It's whenever the artist kind of like throws in a track from another artist. They're like, oh, I really like this song. You're like, this doesn't sound anything like your stuff.
Yeah. It's a weird mix that they've done that.
Yeah.
I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you discover more music, but it's like, no, don't. I'll do my own research.
I found some new stuff from people because of that, but not much. Like you said, it is kind of annoying when it kind of breaks that flow, and you're like,
yeah. It should be a separate function, you know. It shouldn't sort of intervene in your listening session. If you're dedicated to one kind of type of music and you want to sit back and you're coding or you're writing or whatever, you know, you don't want something flying in there that's like, I don't know, Swedish folk music. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Now we're going to get 1-star reviews from all the Swedish folk musicians that listen to the show.
My friend really loves, he's a proper Swedish Viking lad. And he really loves, did you ever meet Matthias?
No.
Yeah, well, you will eventually if he ever bothers to come back to America, but he loves the Swedish folk music, so hopefully he doesn't listen to this. He will slap me. I love Swedish folk music, Matthias. Don't hit me. Anyway.
We actually do have it's really kind of funny. Like, if you look at our following, you can map it out on YouTube. If you look at like our demographics, and it's like U.S., England, Australia, but then like shortly thereafter, we have like a huge Scandinavian following.
Really?
Yeah. For some reason, Scandinavia loves us. So
I think that's all. Okay. That's all Mott's.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's all Mott's. But huge.
Well, just erase that bit I said about folk music.
Oh no, we don't edit on this show.
Yeah, it all goes up. Editing, that's for people with time.
Yeah. So, I got a little bit of notes just to kind of talk about the gameplay and the plot of the game. Again, keeping it spoiler free, but just to give people listening who may not have played just an idea of what's going on in the game. You play as Dust. You're a man who has lost his memories, and you're teamed up with this sentient sword. It's called the Blade of Ara. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Or Ara, I guess maybe is probably a little more emphasis on that second syllable. And the guardian of the sword is a small fairy type creature called Fidget, and you're set out on this journey to kind of help this war-torn country and kind of regain your memories as you go. Dust has a series of hack and slash style moves, and you can perform really powerful combos with Fidget. Like you spin your sword around and she'll shoot stuff and it all gets kind of blasted all over the place. And you can kind of rack up your combo meter as you hit more enemies and get more points and experience points as a result. And speaking of which, the game does have some RPG like stuff going on in it. You can upgrade your stats with those points. It's got a crafting system where you can craft gear and items. It's got the vendor, who I think is a bit of a nod to the Resident Evil 4 vendor a little bit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's lots of wee nods in Dust. Yeah, that is definitely, that's exactly where it's from. Yeah,
and I guess we joke on the show because historically I think we've called games Metroidvania. We've used that term way too many times on the show, but the game is heavily inspired by that style in which it's it's a 2D platformer, and areas of the world are inaccessible until you unlock new abilities through leveling up your character or obtaining new items. So that's pretty much sums up the game, I think, in a nutshell, without going into too much detail.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So I can't add anything to that. That was a great interview. See you guys later.
Well, now we go into the critique portion of the show. Are you gonna be able to say anything bad about it, Chris? Or are you gonna be like, no, the game's perfect, beginning to end?
I can say what I want. It's all right. I'm not afraid of Dean.
I got to admit, before I kind of give my 2 cents, I did not get a chance to finish it, but I did play like a giant chunk of the game, enough to be able to say that I got a feel of it.
Yeah,
and I can say that I really like the story. I like the gameplay. I love the exploration of it. My only big beef with the game is that it's a little front heavy, or it's a little slow in the beginning. And it takes a good I want to say like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before you really kind of get rolling on the game.
Yeah.
And which is kind of weird for a Metroidvania type game, whereas that style of gameplay typically throws you right into the action and like,
yeah,
here's your sword, go kill stuff, and then we'll fill in the story as you go along. Eventually, maybe But this is very much like, okay, here's the story. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee or some popcorn because you're in for a ride.
Yeah.
So the story is really cool from what I've gone through so far, and but like I said, I think people who are expecting it to be pure action heavy might be a little thrown off by that. So I guess expect that if you're going into it.
I think that's the light RPG elements that he talks about, or kind of get you to sit back and drink in a bit of the story. It's a weird it's a weird mesh of things. It's like the thing I find whenever Dean tries to describe the game, and like he does describe it well, but like I guess everybody, because you'll see Metroidvania, side scroller, platformer with RPG elements, and then you look at that, but you don't really know how to gauge what percentage of which of each one is part of the game. Like, is it more Metroidvania, is it more RPG? So you go in with your own expectations of that's what I kind of find as well, like, because I didn't expect, same as you, like I didn't expect the kind of sort of sit back and drink in the story, but as much as there would be, but I would say for people who are kind of thinking of a numeric value, I would say about 70% action, 30% story. Of course the leveling up and stuff.
I do think it helps though that the my own, just to interject my own kind of opinion, is that the story is really good. And you get into it pretty quickly, and kind of all these plot points are revealed pretty early on. I don't want to spoil anything again, but you are kind of given a good idea of what's going on, and it does kind of compel you. There's a lot of really good interaction between Dust and Fidget, which I think really drives it forward and kind of gets you caring about the characters and gets you interested in what their motivations are. But, sorry, Randy, I cut you off.
No, you didn't cut me off at all. That was a good point to pop in. My other only real critique with the game, and after I was looking around, it seems like this is a fairly popular one. Is I wasn't a fan of the voice acting, and which is kind of weird because I think the voice actors themselves all delivered their lines fine, and I think that the people who did the voice acting was fine. It was just that something about the game that I didn't want voice acting in it at all. You know what I mean? I would almost rather read that kind of stuff and then imagine my own voices for it. Because I don't want to say like they did like a crappy job. It just something about it felt out of place to me, and that's really about it. I don't know why I would have that. I'm trying to really put my finger on it, because it's not like you could say, oh, the voice actress for Fidget is just annoying, because she's not. She's actually a really talented voice actress, and she's well accomplished and everything. She's
awesome.
Yeah, and then it's just like there was just something about it, like
It's just, I guess, I mean, I personally really liked it, but I mean, I kind of was immersed in it as well, so it's like, I could be a bit biased, say, just a tiny wee bit biased. I really love what Mac kind of got. Mac is Devin Mac, he runs Toon Platoon casting, and I found him on Newgrounds, and he had basically... This is how I find the director for Dust. He had got this, it was this take, I'll give you a link to it afterwards so you can check it out, but it's hilarious. And it's an angry post. He basically taken an angry post by somebody who's, the way, like 7-year-olds when they're angry on the internet, and they spell like LYK and stuff like this, and it's basically like this, but he, the grammar was just so bad, but he read it out like verbatim, like just exactly as it was. So it was like he read it out really badly, but like in a really like amazing voice, and it was just like, you have to help me. You have the voice, you have the talent. I know what you mean. Like, getting back to your point, it did rub a lot of people the wrong way, but then I think it's one of those things, it's like it's personal preference, and I think Dean could have like had the option in the game to turn off the voices, but I think that was just one of those things. He was really not because he got it all done and we went through a crazy amount of effort to put it in, but like I think it was like that's exactly how he wanted to be presented. But I think it did irritate a lot of people that he didn't have that option. Like you always should have these options to turn off the music, to turn off the sound.
Yeah.
But you didn't have the option to turn off the voices, which cracked a lot of people up. Like, but I don't know. I mean, if you like think about it, like it kind of reminds me of like old school like Disney films. I thought it's kind of got that sort of warm kind of tone to it, but
which is kind of funny considering how violent the game can get. Which is there's that awesome dichotomy kind of going on. To kind of throw in here though, I guess I really probably shouldn't have been expecting. I'm not saying that the voice acting should have been awesome, but like I shouldn't have been expecting like a powerhouse performance because no Metroidvania beforehand has ever really done that. Like if you even think back to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the voice acting in that is so bad and the lines are so bad that it's like it's kind of become beloved because of these like crappy lines and crappy delivery.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I didn't realize that the voice acting had been like a complaint about the game. I thought
really?
I thought it sounded pretty solid and I enjoyed it. It didn't bother me at all. I didn't find it to be a distraction or anything like that. So I was surprised when I heard you say that apparently that was a common complaint with people about the game.
That was, well, for me, that was the only one, and I kind of was looking around on, I think Wiki had mentioned some dude from GameSpot who kind of thrashed the voice acting, and I was like, I wouldn't thrash it, but
no,
yeah.
But I would say like if I had something to say, like that's the one thing I kind of don't like, that would be it.
Yeah,
but I mean, otherwise it's an amazing game, and I think that if people, especially right now, because right now as we record this, the Steam summer sales are going on, and you can get the game for like $1 or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
it's something like 50% off or something insane.
Yeah, but I mean the animation is absolutely astounding. Like you can tell he took the time to do it, and you can tell that he's a trained animator before he even went into doing any of this. The gameplay is awesome as well because you get what I think is a better juggling system and a better control system than games like Devil May Cry. Like I always kind of get frustrated with games like Devil May Cry because it I don't think there's been a game quite yet that does juggling well in a 3D platform. Like juggling always works awesome in 2D because you're only focused on that one plane.
Right, it's up and down and forward and back, and that's it.
And you can do some. I was pulling off some amazing juggling on this, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was this damn good at the game.
The game does a good job of making you feel like a real badass with that sword.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah,
definitely. And I love the Easter eggs in there. I was laughing my ass off when I got Bandage Girl from Super Meat Boy. Like I found her like way up in the sky, and then I got her one time, and then I insta died afterwards, and I could never make it up that high again to see if she was still there for me to need to recollect her. So,
oh man, you got to go down to the sanctuary. The what's it called? It is called the Sanctuary, isn't it? I think
so, yeah.
You go there and it's like a wee old like creepy house, and all the characters collect themselves there. And you go in there, and eventually if you get us, then we start playing DJ music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you have to get both the ducks, and then Glick 16 from the soundtrack starts playing, blaring in the background.
That's cool.
I got to look up some of the Easter eggs and go on a hunt in the game because I try not to look stuff up while I'm playing it because I don't want to, but I definitely got to get in there and look for all that stuff.
There's some really awesome ones. There's a Bastion one. I'm not gonna say all of them. I'm not gonna say any other ones actually, but
I
there's
think
a
I got the Bastion one. Yeah,
and like it was amazing how like Dean basically like recreated the kind of Bastion feel in that area, like all the ground sort of flying up below you.
Yeah.
So like he really sort of took the time to sort of tailor each kind of like Easter egg to wherever it came from, its original background and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's lots of good ones in there. You'll be able to get a few laughs out of it, I think. I don't want to say anything.
Let me see. So graphically it's awesome. Gameplay it's awesome. Soundtrack sucks. I mean, I don't know who those
Deal with it.
I mean,
dude,
terrible.
You know, I just made it on this kazoo right here. So what do you expect? Kazoos and claps. Yeah.
You mentioned, Chris, you mentioned earlier that Dean had given you a snippet of Metal Gear Solid 3 music. What other kind of inspirations did you draw from with the music? Because it made me think of some stuff, but I don't want to say anything. I want to ask what kind of influenced you before I.
It was a pretty massive list of stuff. Basically, we went through so much, man. We went through like a lot of like sort of Hans Zimmer stuff, Sim City as well, if you believe it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Halo 3, the ODST stuff. Dragon Quest 8. There was a lot of stuff from that that got influence in it, and I said before about Ease 3 and Ease 4, like that stuff came back quite a lot in it. Trying to think, there was other really obscure things. I remember you used to like link me to like J-pop and stuff, and I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I was like, how am I gonna like? Cause I'm always up for doing everything. Like I'll try it out, but I think but this was after like there was a point where at the start it was like the style was East 3. East 4, and other games. There's like kind of like the Falcom sound as well. Like if you listen to that, and it's just kind of like rock with like big sort of EX pianos. It's kind of like that 80s like glistening Dell piano sound. So really cheesy. And then Microsoft like obviously went, whoa, this game is pretty cool, and so they started looking into it a lot more, and that's whenever, everything shifted from Dean winning the Dream Build Play to getting into talks with Microsoft, and they were like basically telling him things that they think he should do, and like they were trying to say, they were offering to like give him like a sound team and get composers in, and he was like, no, I'm gonna stick with the HyperDucks, it's fine. So we were like, whoa, because he could have, went with like these other people, and but they said, right, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then we really recommend, that you consider changing the sound aesthetic of the soundtrack to something more cinematic and orchestral. And at this point, we'd never done that before. And that's whenever, like I was saying, like we started really researching into film soundtracks and the Mystic Quest, or not Mystic, Dragon Quest, all that stuff. And that's kind of where we had never done any like work with like orchestral stuff before at all. Like I mean we'd studied it a bit, like, but not to the point where we were ready to like write the way we were at that point. So we ended up just Dean just kind of like took us by the hand at the very start and just showed us like lots of different like music influences that he really liked. There was things like he was even referencing stuff like Wild Arms 3 at points. It's hard. It's hard to say. Like I mean, you'll think Wild Arms 3, and then you go, how does that fit in with like this sound? But it's like he wouldn't just go all like that. It'd be like, listen to this. Listen to a minute 36 in, and listen to that for 12 seconds.
Wow.
Listen to that instrument. I'm serious, man. He is like an encyclopedia of music. We'll be sitting talking about something. I'll be like, so, like, what do you mean? And they go, give me 1 second. I think I know where it is. And he would just go and find this, like, video. And I was like, how'd you even find this video? It had, like, 4 views on the internet. I was like, yeah, listen to 4 minutes, 30 seconds in. And I would go, right, okay. And it goes, something like that, but not as heavy or whatever, And they would just, like, I'm talking crazy speeds. Like, he would just do this so fast. And, he just kind of, he took care of us, like, whenever we were doing it. But, like, I would say definitely, like, Hans Zimmer. For Dan, I think, because, like, I mean, me and Dan didn't always write everything together in the same room, He'd be like, right, I'm drafting up the Cemetery soundtrack, or Cemetery theme tune. I'd be like, right, I'm drafting up the Abatis Forest one. And we would go off in our separate directions and then come back and start to, like, kind of, mesh the sounds together so that it sounds like a soundtrack and doesn't just sound like separate tracks. Well, I wrote this track on bongos. It's like, well, I wrote this track on
kazoo.
Heavy metal, yeah, because yeah. So we did a lot of that, and yeah, Dean kind of took care of the whole referencing thing up to a point where he just let us. It was kind of obvious what he wanted after that, and we just kind of went off it ourselves. But yeah, so those influences,
cool.
They're in the rounds.
That's awesome.
There's probably more, man, but I would never stop talking if I could remember.
No, yeah, I understand.
This is the most informative show we've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk too much, so
no, that's why we have you here,
dude. Otherwise, it's just us bullshitting about the game. I'm pretty sure when they did the music on that game.
Yeah, it's nice to have your perspective. So.
All the time, and they recorded it in one afternoon, and that was it.
If you felt yourself sobering up, you had to call it for the day. Take a rest.
Pick it up tomorrow.
Go down to the local pub.
I'm too sober to deal with you people. I'm out of here.
And Dan, actually, like, just a random fact, like, if I look out my window, literally just across the street, exactly where he lives at the minute. I live so close to him.
Is he staring at you right now? Is he in the window like?
No, he's away to the beach today. The bugger.
Ah, nice.
He's away down to the beach. He's away to, the beach. The beach and then up the mountains. He's doing a big nature adventure today, so I decided to hang a few guys instead. I think it's far cooler than that. I hate nature. It's all right. You're doing me a favor.
Beach or hang out with you guys. I should have gone to the beach.
Yeah. It's okay. I hate the sun. I hate heat. So.
Yeah, but when you're at the beach, it's not as hot because the sea breeze comes off from the ocean and it's cooler right by the by the water.
Yeah. They tried to twist my arm to go, but
now I feel bad.
No, don't. I didn't want to go. I actually didn't. Like, I was so excited that we'd finally got time to do this. I was like, just take me a picture, send it to my phone. It's like I'm already there.
Or what we could have done was we could have just had like a canned pre-recording of your responses and have been like, that was great. No, I really didn't like that part. Dean is really awesome to work with, and we could have just kept
like a soundboard,
like a soundboard.
Oh man, awesome! Yeah, you could have. What you could have done is just left all the gaps in, and then I could record them at another point. But it would probably be the worst show you probably put out ever. That would be my fault. That would be my fault.
So I mean, this game is awesome. I mean, it is a labor of love, and it shows. The amount of polish on this game for an indie title is, I mean, it ranks up there with the best of recent indie titles that have come out. And I mean, if you're a fan of this type of game, then obviously you should already own it. But even if you're not, you should check it out because it's pretty interesting. It's pretty different from a lot of the stuff you see on Steam and even on Xbox Live Arcade. And with it being on sale right now on Steam, I mean, you should just be buying it anyway, just because that's what you do when there's a Steam sale. You just buy everything.
Instead of spending $60 on one game, you can spend $60 on like 12 games instead.
Yeah.
Buy it and gift it.
Of dust.
Yeah.
Give away 11.
Exactly. Gift them to all your friends.
Yeah, I will say this about the game, and this, there's kind of an interesting phenomenon going on in the world of gaming right now, where like big publishers are getting bigger and bigger. And the middle-range publishers are kind of going away, and like it's almost impossible for middle-range publishers to exist in like the current market. But the indie market is thriving really well, so the indie market is really kind of tiny. But it's games like Dust and what some people refer to as AAA indie, and I kind of hate that term. But it's games like Dust that are starting to fill the void of what the mid-range developers used to be doing. The games that have a high amount of polish, but at the same time, they're still taking a chance and doing something original and not really underneath the thumb of a larger publisher. So, I hate to stand on a podium and go off on some kind of crazy tangent, but it's games like Dust that are important for gaming in general. Supporting the smaller guys that are doing good, hard work. So that you can get stuff that isn't just another Call of Duty or another Assassin's Creed. And I love Assassin's Creed, so don't stomp me for that. But a lot of people get tired of the same things over and over again.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And again, not to seem biased, but I do everything you said there. I would say exactly the same thing. I think Dean's like this great example of not just a success story, but just an example of like one guy doing it, one guy, and like a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work, but also one of the things that people kind of miss out on is the fact that Dean's working experience at Microsoft was really, really good. And I was there to see a lot of it, and I was, the way you get these kind of like stories from other independent developers, or Microsoft, screw those guys, they're tough to work with. It's you can't just peg them all under the same umbrella. It's not really the case, and also it just depends on everybody's opinions and views, and how strong they are amongst the group that they get to work with at Microsoft. So I think he's actually put forward this kind of look that indie developers can work with these massive publishers and not have a bad time, because Dean made the game. I mean, if he had had more time, there would have been a lot of things he would have done differently, and he would have had time to make certain elements of the game more challenging the way he had in mind, and more aspects of the story as well. There's stuff that had to be taken away, but it actually worked well that it was. But I mean, that's another story. But he had although he had this sort of slice in his time frame, whereas Microsoft if you can get it out for this time for Summer of Arcade, it'll be worth your time. It's they're still there all the way, with Dean and with us, talking and giving feedback and just offering their experience and stuff. So it's good, because that just means people can go, well, actually not, people can go to these publishers if they have something good and they're scared of their precious creation being spoiled by somebody's stronger views who are going to go change this, or it's not going, or you know what I mean, like that kind of like they don't always, you don't have to worry about that. They're not, they didn't choke any of the ideas that Dean came up with. It's
that's good to hear.
It came out as he wanted it to, besides the things that he didn't have time to finish. But it's how he imagined it, which is a big plus in my book, because it kind of puts to bed a lot of those stories of like maybe Microsoft or other publishers being really sort of constrictive with creativity, which is really not the case at all. I don't think.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I imagine that, in a lot of those cases, I mean, you'll hear stories one way or another, and it comes down to, like you were saying, a lot of times it could be the developer themselves might be hard to work with, and they just had a bad experience, and it just, I'm not meaning to imply anybody specifically, I'm just speaking very generally, as I don't work in the game industry, but I work as a programmer, and I know you can have the same exact kind of experience where someone's brilliant, but they just don't, just a working relationship just doesn't work, Yeah. And totally. Sometimes that happens, and unfortunately, those stories seem to be the ones that that you
hear about the most.
Right, they drive more page clicks than the Unfortunately,
the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Exactly.
That's so true. It's so annoying as well. Because I mean, I would it was recently, and it's kind of related, but it's we'd finished a lot of work for Kingdom Rush, and I'd be on their website, and we met the guys from Ironhide Game Studios when we were over at GDC, and they were awesome. They were so cool, and really down to earth, small team who just I wouldn't say got lucky, but they got what they deserved. They got this big explosion of popularity, and they work, they don't stop working, because they're constantly working to make the game, fix the game, expand the game, make more of the game, and as soon as they bring something out, the only comments you see is this is out, and then all the comments are fuck you, bring it to Flash, or fuck you, bring it to Android. It's come on, and there's no comments going, great, I love Kingdom Rush, or great, it's just all negative comments. It's
right,
human race.
Yeah.
I don't know. So annoying, but I guess that's what it is. Like you said, Stephen. You know, it's only the bad stories that really sort of get the speed.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the front page. Like, but what are you gonna do?
Yep. Well, speaking of bad stories, we got some feedback here from no, I'm just kidding. It's good stuff. Tom wrote in and said, I'm really enjoying Dust. I haven't finished it yet, but I really like everything so far. The characters, the story, the art style, graphics. But what I think I'm enjoying most at the moment is the combat. After learning the combat, it gets fairly easy to string together some cool-looking combos to take out a group of enemies. I also like how there are some side quests and different areas to explore. It's also the first game in a while to keep me feeling like playing it after I have stopped. That's good.
That's cool.
Positive.
That's awesome.
Good stuff. Thank you, Tom, very much. And we also, Phil, who, you know, is also one of the hosts on the show, he couldn't make it this week, like I mentioned earlier, but he did send us in a lengthy bit of comment here. I'm gonna try to do it justice.
Do you want to do it in my Sean Connery voice?
No, it's okay.
For a time that came from essentially one man, this is an achievement.
I was gonna try and do Phil's voice, but I don't think I could do it.
As long as we're not doing Christopher Walken voices, that
no, it's okay. None of that.
we're not doing that.
For a game that essentially came essentially from one man, this is an achievement. That said, I can't give everything a complete pass just because I know the amount of heart and effort that went into creating this game. Combat, while initially fun, and I did say, holy shit, the first time I did a dust storm, starts to become uninteresting. I pretty much had my set method of attack for every encounter after an hour or two of play. To compound that drag, this game was way too chatty for me. It over-explains the smallest details. There was a new enemy encounter at one point in which all three of the main characters determined exactly how to kill the enemy before I even had a chance to fight it. So not only was it too chatty, but it also wasn't leaving much to the player. This happens a few times, so the pacing of the game sort of falls apart. The art certainly perplexes me. The hand-drawn animation is fantastic. Dust himself clearly got all of the attention here. The backgrounds are gorgeous. I dreamed to paint landscapes that, well, someday... I read that completely wrong. Wrong emphasis on all the syllables there. So I dreamed to paint landscapes that, well, someday. But the character portraits are frightening. It was hard for me to take them seriously, and as a result, hard for me to take the story itself seriously.
Did he play on Xbox or PC? Because I liked the portraits.
I'm not sure about that. And as I was reading that sentence, that thought popped into my head. I wonder if he did play it on Xbox. I'm not sure.
I have not seen what... Like I said, a lot of people complained about the Xbox version of the portraits. I haven't seen those to know if they were like bad.
Yeah, I thought it looked great on the PC version. So
yeah.
I'm not sure. And I was dreading reading this sentence. And that's not a shot at the fact that the characters fall into the furry category.
Oh God,
I'm perfectly
we're gonna get
fine
so many
with that.
furry comments now.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Phil does not speak for the entire Game Club podcast. I was reminded of Muramasa, the Demon Blade, for the Wii. Yeah. They're both sort of Metroid-ish adventure games and have beautiful 2D graphics with the sort of hand-to-hand combat you've seen in 3D brawlers. Yeah. While the map in Muramasa is a disaster compared to Dust, ultimately Muramasa's more satisfying combat is what got me to stick around and see that game to completion. If you're curious, I made it to the Hidden Cove in Dust before losing interest. I don't mean to come off too negative, though. This game hits enough of the right beats, and for a first-time effort, it's actually pretty mind-blowing how well this turned out. I totally recommend it to people to play. And he says he also appreciated the Wind Waker-style musical cues during combat.
Oh, look at that!
Yep.
Nice.
Phil is it?
I'm glad people actually noticed that. That was we did that in like the last 3 weeks of Crunch.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like mayhem. It was like, here, should we do some melodic combat? Like, yeah, okay, let's do that. While all our hair's falling out and everyone's dying around, there's flames everywhere. But, cool. I'm glad he liked it.
Yeah,
but,
thanks, Phil.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know what else I have to say about the game, except that, like I said before, I mean, if you don't have it, you should definitely check it out. I mean, there's demos out there if you're not 100% sure, but if you're playing on Steam, I mean, it's less than the price of a rental. to get the full game. And I believe there's a soundtrack bundle too, I think, in there too, maybe? I might be wrong.
We tried to get that, but Steam were being...
okay.
They haven't done it, but you can get it on our Bandcamp and on Louder as well.
And on your YouTube channel now, too.
And, yeah, you can stream it all on the YouTube channel as well. So.
Nice. Any kind of closing thoughts on the game from you guys? Anything you want to...
Not really. I mean, for a little while, we kind of hit a weird vein of reviewing less than exciting games, and we've been doing some good games this year. We went from Fez to Super Metroid to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to be doing Rogue Legacy.
Yes.
So I'm kind of enjoying the vein of games that we've been playing lately, instead of me going like, this game's boring, or I can't believe we paid money for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue Legacy, man, that looks really good. I haven't bought it yet because I have this thing, and I'm sure you probably have it as well. You look at your Steam game list and you're like, I've played 3 of these games, and you realize, because you go, oh yeah, it's on sale, it'd be silly not to buy it, and you buy it, and then you do work for another 4 months, and you go, you haven't played it at all, but it's installed on your system. So I feel guilty, like, grabbing Rogue Legacy without having the time to put it in, because it looks so good. The soundtrack's awesome for it as well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, you guys should definitely be. I should be getting on that. Actually, I should be getting in the Rogue Legacy, getting myself sucked into it. I should just quit my job and just play Rogue Legacy.
I was saying the same thing. I was like, I just need to stop having these obligations so I can do work for the site.
All these external things, just screwing everything up.
Yeah, post-its everywhere.
Yes. So we'll be back in a couple weeks with Rogue Legacy, I guess. Not sure the exact date, but yeah, 2 weeks from now probably. Mm-hmm. And so please look forward to it.
If we haven't said it already, click on Chris's head to go to HyperDuck's YouTube channel. The HyperDuck's YouTube channel.
Yes.
That sounds less like I'm from New Jersey.
HyperDuck's, yeah.
HyperDuck's, and I'm actually not from New Jersey. I just live here now.
Yeah, but you're catching our bad accent.
It's starting to rub off on me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you click on Chris's head, it'll go to the HyperDuck's YouTube channel. I'll also have in the show notes below links to their SoundCloud channel and the HyperDuck's homepage as well, where you can follow exactly what they're working on. And I think they also have a Bookface thing, so we'll even link their Bookface thing.
Yep.
I didn't know what you were. I was like,
it's the Book of Faces.
And if you're one of the people listening to the show through the podcast form, you can follow Chris at HyperDuckChris on Twitter, and also head over to hyperduck.co.uk. Check out the website, and I'm sure you can get links to all those places Randy just mentioned through there. So definitely do that, please. You can also follow Randy on Twitter. How about that? At Randy Yasenchuk, if you like.
Like anybody is going to know how to spell that. Look in the show notes for the link.
wow.
And I'm on there at Steve Wilkinson, and Phil is at Shamoozle, even though he's not here, but that's where you can find him.
You can spiritually reach Phil there.
And please head over to elder-geek.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, MySpace, Friendster, wherever else we might be.
Dude, when I saw the commercials for MySpace on TV the other day, I was like, what? What year is this?
Yeah.
What?
No.
MySpace is still a thing?
Yeah.
No
yeah.
way. Your man Tom, he's still working on MySpace. That one photograph he has where he's like, I'm just working on MySpace. Like, give it over, Tom. Go to Facebook now. Anyway, sorry.
Finally, if you're listening to the podcast forum, the Game Club theme music was graciously provided by Josh Welshel. So head over to...
No, it wasn't. Oh, Game Club theme music was Josh Welshel, yes.
The music on the podcast forum, not the YouTube channel music. Yes. Sorry for the confusion.
The outro is by Chris.
Yes, correct, yes. So for that, head over to jwmusic.org and check out his work. And like Randy was just saying, HyperDuck's SoundWorks has also provided us with some fine music for our YouTube channel. So if you're watching on there, that's what you're hearing at the end. So, sorry, a little convoluted way of saying all that, but them's the facts. Sorry.
Them's the facts.
Chris, man, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Glad to get you on here. It was worth the wait in every aspect.
Yeah, same time in 3 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
We're pegging it in for next week, but realistically, it's 2018.
Or honestly, dude, if you ever wanted to come back, if you were just like, dude, I've been really playing X game and I want to talk about it on a podcast, you are always welcome to come back. You don't have to have worked on the game. We just wanted to bring you on because we were going to play Dust, and I was like, hey, we know somebody that like actually did something with that game. Let's bring them on so they can talk dirt about the development process.
Yeah, I didn't actually talk enough dirt about Dean. We'll do a double, triple podcast at some point. Just bad mouthing Dean for 2 hours.
Sounds good.
If you ever get around to playing Last of Us, give me a shout, and don't look down. Just do it.
I've made this joke before, but I do feel like I am the Last of Us to have played that game. Literally, I cannot get my hands on a copy of that game, and I keep on every video they're like, "Hey Randy, why haven't you reviewed The Last of Us yet?" I don't have the cash to buy the damn thing yet. Give me some time. Give me some time.
Okay.
But I'm saying to our fans to give me some time. To you, dude, if we ever do Last of Us, we'll bring you back on.
Yeah, you guys definitely should be doing. Have you played it, Steven?
I have. I haven't finished it yet. I'm about halfway through the game.
It.
I got
no
it.
Excuse.
You know what? That's what I'll do. As soon as he's done, I'm gonna book over to his house. I'll be like, "Hi, just give me the game, and I'm going back home and drive the 2 hours back."
Yeah. It's only a couple hours. You could be here pretty quick.
Awesome. All
right,
Thanks
guys.
very much for having me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with Rogue Legacy, and we'll see you then.